Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, persons of all ages, welcome to the most exclusive group in the wrestling community. And now, your hosts, first, from Guadalajara, Puerto Rico, Macho Rodriguez, and his tag team partner from New Brunswick, Canada, God's Gift, Tyler Taylor! Mi gente, ¿cómo estamos? Welcome to another edition of Wrestletalk here on Must Love Wrestling. And guys, we have a little bit to unpack today. So the breaking news is being reported by all wrestling pundits that WWE has decided that they wanted to turn The Miz into a babyface. Guys, this is massive. I can't remember a time where we've seen a wrestler like The Miz, who's been a heel for his entire WWE run, being shifted to a babyface? But maybe after a 20-year career, maybe it's time. There's a lot of yous out there that feel like John Cena never transitioning over to a heel hurt him. Now, I disagree with that because we always needed those white meat baby faces. But The Miz, a babyface? Now rock with me for a little, guys, because I know this is going to be a little out there. I do come off as the AEW basher, but sometimes, just sometimes, we need to keep it real here. AEW has been attacked by most fans all over WrestleTalk as the franchise that needs to copy things from WWE. They need to do every storyline WWE did in the past. We're seeing it currently with Christian and Adam Copeland. We're watching a rehashing of a program that was already done a while back. We're seeing it in AEW. We've seen it play out with MJF having to have all of his workers or all of his feuds go through certain steps to get to him. I think that's a massive shift. We need to be very clear. The reason I bring this up is because MJF was that always heel. He's that guy that we never in a million years thought to ourselves, this guy's going to be a babyface. No, absolutely not. He just doesn't scream babyface. Nothing he does to me, even now, feels like he's a babyface. It feels like he's a heel masquerading as a babyface. Kind of like what we see in Charlotte. We see people that are just so good at being bad guys that we just can't see them being, oh, we got to run in. We got to run in, guys. Simba has decided to run in. But we see people that are just so good at being heels that we never want to see them as a babyface. So, does this feel like WWE copied the MJF thing? Because with The Miz transitioning over to a babyface, it feels almost like they're taking a page out of the AEW playbook. Taking one of our most successful heels in the company and making him a babyface. I honestly can't think of another way for them to do this, where they would have gotten the idea from. To me, this screams, let's freshen Miz up. And all of the reports are saying that he is going to join DIY. Now, guys, that's pretty cool because Johnny Gargano is one of those babyface, those true blue babyface guys. Now, we did see him in the way, so we know he can be a heel, and he showed a lot of charisma being a heel. But I really feel like this is going to work out for all three members. It puts Tommaso Ciampa and The Miz back together. And if we inevitably get a heel turn, whichever way it goes, DIY turning on The Miz and Ciampa turning on Johnny, either way, we're going to come out with some fresh stories and it's going to be better for pro wrestling. Pro wrestling is its most successful when all of the stories throughout the entire card are worth sinking your teeth into. WWE has Roman Reigns, they have Seth freaking Rollins, they have Drew McIntyre, they have the Judgment Day, but they need stories throughout the entire card. We have to remember that they give us 5 hours of television a week, as well as one premium live event a month. Not to mention that we get the 2 hours of NXT. So that equates to maybe 10, 11 hours. Guys, I'm excited for this possibility. I'm excited to think that MJF and his success influenced the WWE at all. But I could be grasping at straws. It could be The Miz that just wants to freshen things up. But we got to keep it real here, guys. Why not try something? Why not kind of point out how, WWE is taking a story from the other company and seeing if it'll work in their company? As I've said before, and I'll say it again, there are certain wrestlers in AEW, if they transition over to WWE, that they would be massive stars. Such people like Adam Hangman Page, Swerve Strickland, Orange Cassidy. These people would thrive with the machine behind them. The merchandise, the crowd reaction, all of it. So I think it's kind of cool that it shows a level of maturity in WWE to see them take a storyline like taking their most popular heel into MJF and adapting it to someone like The Miz. Another thing that happened this past week was Ronda Rousey jumped into independent wrestling. Guys, that's a big deal. A lot of the attacks that Ronda Rousey has received in the pro wrestling circuit is that she didn't dedicate herself enough to pro wrestling. That she kept her name, but didn't actually do the work. Now, during her first run, she was unbelievable. Her matches with Nia Jax, Sasha Banks, Charlotte Flair, they all felt like, wow, we have a star on our hands. Not to mention her debut match at WrestleMania, tagging with Kurt Angle against The Authority and Stephanie McMahon and Triple H. I'm hoping that this transition over to the independents gives her a new love of pro wrestling. I'm hoping she gets the chance to work people like Mickie James, that she gets to learn from people like Tess Blanchard, that she gets to learn from people like Gail Kim. Ronda Rousey's always needed to go back to basics and relearn everything because she was protected during her first run, but in her second run, they threw her to the wolves, man. Royal Rumble winner, wins the world title quickly, and the fans just weren't buying it. But the one thing I will say about pro wrestling fans is if you go back and do the work, a la Cody Rhodes, go to the indies, go to Japan, go do everything you can, it will give wrestling fans a new take on you as a character. Looks like we got some comments in the chat. Let's see here. Oh, we got From the Dungeon saying, "What up, son?" Not much, man. Just sitting here talking The Miz turning into a babyface. That's new, right? Ronda Rousey joining the independent circuit. I mean, those are big deals, aren't they? Wouldn't you say that, D? Thank you so much for tuning in, by the way. The one thing that I don't think gets enough love by pro wrestling fans is the fact that we forget that a lot of these wrestlers are just like us. They're pro wrestling fans. They're fans first. How many times have you seen that Ronda Rousey video where her reaction to Seth Rollins betraying Roman Reigns and the Shield? Why would she be watching wrestling if she wasn't a fan? I feel like her going back to the indies and falling in love all over again with something that she was so passionate about for years, I feel like it'll be a good thing for her. And by the time she makes her way back to WWE, just like Cody did, I think fans will have a new level of appreciation for her. I will forever rock with her. I'm a massive fan of hers. And I just believe that she needs this to happen. Sometimes you got to hit the pause button and you got to reassess everything. And that's exactly what she's doing. So, guys, there's a bunch of rumors out there that CM Punk is going to work with the WWE coming up. Now, most recently, we heard Billy Body say on his program, The Dirt Sheets, that it's for a one-off program. And depending on how fans react to it, that he may get more time in kind of like a Legends deal. How do you feel about that? Because I feel like CM Punk at 45 years old might not have a lot left in professional wrestling, but I want to see him go out the right way on his terms. And by his terms, I don't mean just come in and do everything that Phil Brooks wants to do, but I want him to go out after getting his main event at WrestleMania. Whether it's night 1 or night 2, it doesn't matter. I definitely want to see CM Punk wrestle at Survivor Series. And now that we are told that Roman Reigns will not be a part of Survivor Series, he is not due back until, I believe, Royal Rumble. I think this is a bigger sign. It's kind of WWE's way to keep them away from each other, kind of like they're doing with Seth Rollins and Roman. Yeah, they throw jabs at each other here and there, but ultimately, we're seeing it play out where we can get CM Punk versus Roman down the line. Let's see how the crowd reacts. If CM Punk's back in the building, the next time Roman Reigns comes out to cut a promo, does the crowd take over? Do they start chanting CM Punk? Now, the one flaw in this plan is that WWE fans are the most fickle fans ever. And they will do such things as take over events. And the last thing we need is for CM Punk's return to somehow hurt Cody Rhodes or LA Knight. Because what we're watching in LA Knight, we don't know if it's going to happen. I mean, personally, I think he's just going to take a quick loss. I would say maybe 12-minute match. And then he'll move on to another storyline. I don't think we're going to get more than a one-off. As I said before, and I'll say it again, LA Knight versus Roman Reigns is designed to be Chris Jericho versus Triple H on Monday Night Raw. If you go back to that Monday Night Raw, they call it the match that never happened. Jericho hires APA. He wins the WWF Championship. Triple H makes him reverse the decision. And the match is stricken from the books. But look at the crowd reaction after he hits the lion salt and he gets the 3 count. That crowd reaction, that pop, it showed Vince and all the boys in the back, we have something special in Jericho here. And as we know, Jericho is one of the greats, top 10 all time. Argue with your abuela, I don't care. He is a top 10 wrestler all time. Now, I'm not saying that would be LA Knight, but if he gets a massive reaction, if social media goes crazy, if the fans are livid after he loses, if LA Knight's chants in the stadiums and in the arenas are louder, if his merch sales start going crazy, then guess what, guys? Then maybe the rumor is true. Maybe LA Knight is the favorite to win the Royal Rumble. I think it's something to think about. I'm also coming on here, guys, because tomorrow we're having a very special guest. Tomorrow we will be going live at 10:15. And Mr. Phoenix King will be joining the show once again. And we will be talking wrestling. We'll go over some of his favorite Sting matches now that Sting's on his way out. We'll talk MJF because he's not a fan of MJF, and I want to hear his take on it. I posted recently on TikTok praising MJF for the match with Kenny Omega because it wasn't anything we've seen in AEW before. They sold, guys. They sold spots. They didn't just get up after moves. That spot in the outside, that sunset flip, power bomb onto the table, it took them 3 minutes to get up. They sold that for 3 minutes. And his comment on there was, yeah, the boy did good, but I'm still counting down the days till his ass loses the title. So I had to get him on here. I had to be like, dude, you know what? Let's talk LA Knight. Let's talk Sting. Let's talk Phil Brooks, and let's talk MJF. I'm very excited because Phoenix King brings a level of excitement to the show. It brings so much with us. Now, I'm not sure if Tyler will be here yet. I will confer with him later today. But Phoenix King will be here tomorrow, and I'm very excited to have him on the show. One last thing before I go, guys. Have we noticed that we're in an era where a professional wrestler can do the most? And because they've already eclipsed everything that they ever set out to be, we kind of underappreciate them. That's what I believe we're seeing with Becky Lynch. If you notice in the PWI 250 for the women, she was ranked number 29. All 10 women in the top 10 list, they've all done pretty well, but none of them have had the past 6 months that Becky Lynch has had. I have not seen a more historic streak of 5-star matches the way Becky Lynch has had, dating back to her street fight with Zoe Stark. She has provided us with so much great wrestling. Look at what she did in NXT. She was champion for 42 days, people. She defended the title 9 times. She made that championship so important that by the time Laya Valkyria won the title, it was already positioned as a top title in the entire company. All because of the hard-ass work Becky Lynch did. Now, I know a lot of people are out there and they're saying, but Laya kind of got the Nepo baby thing because, she's one of Becky's trainees. Well, so what? Don't a lot of yous wish that Shawn Michaels would have put over Daniel Bryan? Aren't a lot of yous upset that Shawn Michaels came back to that tag match in Saudi when he could have had that one final match with Daniel Bryan, especially during the Randy Orton feud, when he's the reason Bryan didn't win the WWE Championship? You can't have it both ways, guys. You can't want the Heartbreak Kid to come back and work Daniel Bryan so you can have a dream match. And that's a student-teacher relationship, but then poo-poo Becky Lynch and Laya Valkyria. Becky, in her slow time, or in her little bit of time in NXT, got Tiffany Stratton to the point where everybody's just waiting for her to debut on the main roster. I mean, I'm excited. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Tiffany Stratton is this era's Kurt Angle. She has soaked in the business in such a small amount of time, but the one thing she has done that Kurt Angle didn't do is she's working talent her stage. Kurt came in during the best time in professional wrestling. The Rock, The Undertaker, Kane, Edge, Christian, Eddie, Benoit, Austin. And he worked all of these people. Rikishi, let's not forget Rikishi, super underrated worker. Tiffany doesn't have that. She had one amazing worker, and that was Becky Lynch. She did have that phenomenal match with Laya Valkyria, but that was it. Oh, come on now, man. That's crazy. So she can get buried. I don't believe so. I think she's going to skyrocket to the moon. I'm excited. Before I jump on to the breaking news that may or may not happen tonight, I wanted to talk about one more thing. Did you catch, right as Becky Lynch was about to hand the title to Laya Valkyria after she won, she took a peek up at Jade Cargill? They have done a phenomenal job building Jade. And what I like the most is they're not oversaturating it, guys. Did you notice she's kind of there? She does a little entrance, maybe says a couple words, but they're not pushing her down our throats. They're letting us breathe. They're giving us chances. to go back and watch old Jade Cargill stuff. Go watch what she did before. Let's Wikipedia her. Let's Google her. Let's find out how good she is. Let's see how phenomenal she could possibly be in the ring. And now we have Bianca Belair back. And that is a hot ticket right there. Bianca Belair versus Jade Cargill. Oh my God, that's a dream match of all dream matches. Yeah, I agree with you here, D. Jade has to impress in her first match. 100%. It cannot be a squash match. WWE has to play this perfectly. She has to come in. She has to work a veteran. This is why I've been on board. It has to be Natty. It has to be. Because nobody can get the most out of their wrestlers like Natalya can. It has to be Natalya. All right, guys, my last thing that I wanted to talk about before I go here. It seems as though we're going to have a debut tonight on Monday Night Raw. That's right, guys. Let me find the report here for you. But it looks as though NXT is officially having a call-up today. Let's see here. And it looks like the Creed brothers, the Steiner brothers 2.0, are on their way up to Monday Night Raw. Guys, Julius Creed, to me, has the ability to be what Scott Steiner never could be. And this coming from quite possibly the biggest Steiner brothers fan ever. But when I watch this team, when I see Julius Creed, I see money. That's right, guys. Money, 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 money. That dude is super, super special. I'm excited for the fans to see him. And I'm hoping that we get a chance to watch him work against guys like, I don't know, maybe Gunther? We'll see. Maybe they just keep him in the tag title picture. We'll see there too. All right, guys. Well, that's all for Wrestle Talk today. I will be back here tomorrow at 10:15 with Mr. Phoenix King. I look forward to talking with all of you. Don't forget to follow us on our socials as well as, interact with us. We love talking with you. Thank you so much for the subscribers, all 333 of you guys. Let's get that number up to 500. I'm very excited. I get a notification every single time we pass 100. It's cool. I'm so happy, and I'm so impressed by the fact that we have such a loyal fan base here, guys. I'm excited to be able to continue to share content with you and continue to grow. This is ultimately the goal, is to finish up here. All right, guys. Until next time, que tenga buen día.